Hello, everybody. How is everyone doing this Sunday
Howdy,
evening?
howdy.
Howdy. I feel like
It's like my new slogan. I don't know where it came from.
howdy. Maybe it's
Howdy.
coming. I feel like I say it all the time because for a little bit during quarantine, I was watching. Oh my goodness, I can't think of his name. But he does like a drive-in, final drive-in.
Guy
Um,
Fieri?
no, no, no. It's a horror show. He reviews horror movies.
I have no
Um, and
idea.
then there's the male girl, Darcy the male girl. Um, damn, it'll come to
No
me or someone in
clue.
the chat will know. But I kept saying
It is
boy
not
howdy.
Guy Fieri.
It is
I am
not,
very
even
disappointed.
though he's done a lot for local restaurants, so we shouldn't hate Guy Fieri.
No, we love Guy
Fieri.
Fieri and Flavor
Fieri.
Town. Like,
Flavor
listen,
Town.
Flavor Town.
Well, welcome to Comic Book Flavor Town today. Thank you all for being here, by the way. And thank you, Mars, for being here. You're the
Always.
absolute best, especially when I'm like, hey, this week we're going to do it early. Hey, this week we're going to do it later.
And then this week she's like, I could do it early or late, but I think I want to do it late. And I'm like, oh, okay then.
So thank you for everyone. I want to go ahead and say hi to everyone in the chat. I don't know who all is here.
Travis is here first, always,
Travis,
forever and
because of
always.
course, I'll just go ahead and leave this up here permanently. It's the Jennifer, Mars, and Travis show this week.
I'm telling you, man, Travis is our hype man. He's always
really
on Instagram
is.
boosting everybody in the community. Like, listen, man, Travis, you gotta start charging us for this shit, man.
I know, right? And let me go ahead and say hello to Chaos. I was on a show with him this week. He joined us with Hero and the Kid. So that was a lot of fun. Really happy to kind of like talk to you face to face, the new over the internet face to face, whatever that is now. And then, of course, Hero and the Kid, who I had a show with on Friday. They had a really lovely shout out for you, basically saying that your videos are like so underappreciated. So everyone, if you haven't already, please go like and subscribe.
You're gonna make me cry. Mars. Oh
no. Let's see what else is here. Hello, Tony. I see that you are driving and listening.
Please be safe. Don't look at us. Just listen to our words as we soothe your drive along.
Yeah. I'll try to make it entertaining and like maybe act out or like onomatopoeia everything out as we're talking. And then hello to Banshee Queen. Thank you for being here. Howdy.
Howdy.
Hello, TC. So nice of you to be here. And then, oh my goodness, it moved on me. All right, and then Nicole. Oh, I love Nicole. I love you. I'm so glad that you're here. And then Famous. Hello. Oh, okay.
Got a Jose in the chat.
Oh, sweet.
Finally.
Sweet. Thank you. Did I? Okay. Oh, and Travis has a new book coming out. Please send me the link to that. I would love to see that. And then Kirby, hello. Thank you for being another like comic book hype person.
Everybody's so great.
I know. Whew. So that was a lot of people in the chat, and I'll go ahead and try to like bring up comments from all of you as we go along. So please comment along unless you're driving, which please like seatbelt.
Comment later.
DM us. Yeah. So there was a ton of new good books that came out this week.
So much. It felt like aside from a couple, and maybe this is just in the order that I read them, but it was like that first batch when I sat down and was reading my stuff. I was like, damn, comics are good and I love comics. And then it sort of kind of fell off a little bit, but like, let's be honest here, like the majority of this, there was maybe like one or two books that I didn't care for, but this was a massive week. Where do we want to start? Do we just want to go off of Future State like we normally do?
Yeah, if you want to, you can probably talk a lot more about Future State because I did say earlier that the only one that I read was Catwoman, but I lied because I did quickly read Immortal Wonder Woman. So I did read these two. These were the only Catwoman and Immortal Wonder Woman that I read this week.
I have a lot to say about Catwoman. So do you want to start with Immortal Wonder Woman and we'll kind of get her out of the way.
Yeah, not that we could ever really get her out of the way.
No, she's immortal and she's here forever.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but I got both variants because let's talk about this Becky Cloonan variant for a second, because this is just absolutely gorgeous and I'm obsessed with it. And then I realized that I paid $7 for a book and I'm like, oh damn, but it's gorgeous. And I love Becky Cloonan. Like, I'm so happy that we're getting her on the Wonder Woman ongoing, but like, if I could have her drawing it too, is that too much to ask for? I feel like it is at this point. So Immortal Wonder Woman didn't really care about it. Is that sad to say? The art was absolutely gorgeous, but it just kind of fell flat for me. I like the fact that it was her wandering the universe by herself, where it seems like all of her friends have died and the earth has kind of fallen into ruin. We didn't really get much closure into her interaction with Swamp Thing, which I thought was weird, but maybe it picked off in the Swamp Thing Future State, which I did not read.
Not really. Okay. Because that one felt like a completely separate story than where
it was
this
like an
was with Swamp Thing.
alternate line.
Yeah, which all of it feels like it's in this future state, but it's all alternate timelines. But yeah, you're right. In this book, like we get to see her kind of like floating around in space and nothing, and she's having this moment between her and Superman.
The Spectre too.
And well, there is a moment with her and the Spectre, but she has this moment with Superman where she's basically like having an existential crisis. Maybe Spectre is having an existential crisis later. But you know, spoiler alert, he kind of like gives himself up. He sacrifices himself, and she's having, like, I don't necessarily want to call it a pity party, but she's basically floating in space like, what's a girl to do? And then she meets up with Spectre, who is also kind of sitting there having a pity party, and
which is really weird to me because every comic that I've read that has the Spectre in it, he's always seemed like this kind of asshole, for lack of a better word, where he's just kind of like, okay, this is my job to do this. This is my job to abstain the timeline. Please don't fuck it up. And if you do, I'm going to get very upset with you. And here's like him and Diana having this like intimate pal moment, which granted, that's exactly the type of thing Diana would do, but to do it with the Spectre just felt really, really out of character for me. I will say I did like the ending of the book. So, spoiler, because you're not really missing much if you didn't read it, but Diana basically sacrifices herself for whatever reason. I don't understand why she does it. However, she ends up putting herself in the stars as almost like a constellation, which I really, really did like. Coming from Greek mythology, it kind of reminded me of that scene from Hercules when they put themselves in the stars, and I like that. But this book, I think if this book was not drawn by Jen Bartel, barely anybody would have picked this up, especially after the first issue.
I agree, and I think that there was so much hype over the first week of Future State, and even for me, like I was hyped, and I'm like, yeah, I'm picking up every title. I'm still picking up every title, but I assure you that I'm not reading every title right now. I may try to go and do like a Future State recap or something like that, but that will definitely be a chore and not like something that I'm enjoying. But maybe going into a lot of these stories, because both Wonder Woman and Catwoman are basically 2-issue stories, and that's it. So, and these are like, you have to know going in is that these are new characters basically, or they're new timelines. So to be introduced to these characters in such a short way, like here's the dilemma that they're put in, and then here's the resolution so quick. So I really do. I know I keep saying this every week, but I'm really curious what they're going to do to collect these, because
they did just release solicitations
the previews
for the trades.
That's right.
So I'm actually surprised that they're coming out as quick as they are. I thought it was going to be a couple more months before they started pushing out the trades. So if you missed out on Future State, May is when you're going to be able to get your hands on the collected trades. And it looks like they're like splitting it up between, the different timelines. So we have our Justice League timeline that had Future State Aquaman. I think it had Future State Wonder Woman and a couple other books. You have, of course, the Future State Gotham, which I'm sure is going to collect like Batman, Dark Detective, Catwoman probably. And then there's probably going to be a Superman book and so on and so forth. So if you did miss out on those, they are coming.
And we'll probably, once we get a chance, I mean, it sounds like you've already gone through those solicitations, but I think that like once we both get like more of a deep dive in what those look like, then we'll probably give a little bit more of like a detail, like this is what's coming out.
I'm thinking next week we'll do solicitations. I almost mentioned something about doing it this week, but previews is acting really, well, there's so much, but previews was acting really, really weird this week. And maybe it's because I went on as soon as they were updated, but there were barely any pictures. There were a couple of series, like there was a new one from Volt Comics that Volt hadn't even announced yet, which is very uncharacteristic of them. So I'm going to give it a week, see if it needs time to play catch up. And then we'll definitely do a solicitations wrap up on the show, because I really do love doing those. And I love getting you guys excited for books. And, you know, of course, pre-ordering them before FOC is always important.
Yeah. Really quick, I do want to go ahead and just say hello to Comic Book G-Spot right here. Last night I had the chance to be on his channel with a whole bunch of lovely ladies. Like seriously, like it was such a blast talking with all these ladies. It was hosted by him, like on his channel, but with his wife, who literally a queen. The link is in the bio, I think, or link in the bio. Link is in the description below. It's the first one to last night's video. If you haven't, please go subscribe to his channel, because he does fun weekly stuff too. And there's going to be a monthly show with some awesome rad ladies, including his wife, who literally is an absolute queen, called It's That Time of the Month, and it's ladies. So please come and join us. Go and like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, fam.
Perfect. But that was it for Immortal Wonder Woman. Did you have any other thoughts on Immortal Wonder Woman?
That was pretty. You said it all.
Hit the nail on the head. Okay, cool. So, are you still doing your shout outs before I move on?
I'm just kind of like saying hi to everyone down here. So
also, I agree. A lot of these should not have been 2 issues. And there are some, which I will talk about in a moment, that should have been more than 2 issues. But that's just my personal opinion.
Yep. And even Travis, we finished Future State, and then a ton of Heroes Reborn titles gets announced. So,
and more Batman titles, because why?
Because of course. And I really, you know, I'm really glad that we can get more Batman, and I'm really, really hoping that we get some more pearls being ripped. That we see those cheap knockoff pearls. I'm just going to go ahead and write a sequel to Batman Year 18. So if anyone hasn't seen before or heard, I'm here to write Batman Year 18, Barely Legal, where we talk about pearl necklaces and things like that. So I'm gonna do one called I don't know,
Batman Year 18.
Batman Year 18, Barely Legal, Part 2,
Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo pearl necklace.
Did you guys notice that beautiful chemistry, on-screen chemistry there? Only the 2 of us could do it. So speaking of DC Comics, before I jump into the rest of DC, because it made me think of it, surprise, 2 days ago, DC Comics announced 11 new surprise titles that were coming out for 2021. So these aren't things that necessarily hit solicitations. These are just very, very brief things that are being announced that will hopefully be coming out in 2021. So I thought we could gloss over them real quick, because a couple of them are kind of interesting. A couple of them not so much. So we have Deathstroke Inc., which, okay. I mean, if we're going to get more sexy Deathstroke and more Rose Wilson, I'm there for it. Otherwise, I don't care. We're going to see a Harley Quinn animated series sequel, which I know a lot of people are excited for, especially if you're a fan of Mad Love and that Bruce Timm type of vibe. I know old school Harley fans will eat that up, and I'm actually surprised DC hasn't done something like that sooner. We have a Wonder Woman 80th anniversary title, which... Okay. We have Elseworld, which I'm actually surprised we're getting Elseworld again, because Elseworld is something we have not heard in the 90s or since the 90s and mid 2000s. And I'm actually a huge fan of some of the Elseworld stories, because they can just get kind of really, really freaky and really weird. So I'm here for that weirdness.
And especially because for me, like a lot of the success that I've seen with Black Label, with Wonder Woman, Dead Earth, I really hope that they do some titles like that. Granted, like that was like a really good, like contained
It was
story.
so good.
So I hope that, and nothing can really like, I mean, yet that I've seen can compare to that. So we'll see if we get any more like Wonder Woman, Dead Earth.
Exactly. But I'm thinking that that might be one of the reasons why they're pushing Elseworld is because of the success of Wonder Woman Dead Earth. So we're getting Elseworld, we're getting DC Vampires, which is described as a working title. And oh, thank you. I don't read Venom, but I love this shirt. So I'm a fake fan. We're getting DC Vampires. It's described as a working title. However, I think after the success of Deceased, which was zombies in the DC universe,
yeah,
if I'm being honest with you, makes sense that DC Comics wants to jump on to makes sense that DC Comics wants to jump onto a vampire title. So
yeah.
I'm thinking after that we might get werewolves, maybe space aliens. I don't know.
Ooh.
DC's kind of just running with it.
I'm here to also write that. Like, give me Big Barda in space. Give me like, ooh, okay. So apparently, like I just need to go ahead and just have like a fan fiction account and
fanfic.net.
Fanfic.net.
We're getting a Robin and Batman title, which is actually surprising because usually it's Batman and Robin, but it's being titled as Robin and Batman. And we haven't had one of those in a while since the New 52. So it'd be nice to see that come back. We're getting another Joker title.
Because of course.
Joker, a puzzle box. And I'm like, I'm out. I don't want any more. We are getting The Legend of Batman, which again is a 90s title, which is being revitalized because why not? It's Batman and we need to sell copies. Crush and Lobo, which Lobo I'm familiar with, but Crush I am not.
Yeah.
Crush might be his daughter from the new Teen Titans run. I'm not entirely sure though.
Yeah. Someone let us know. Someone let us know in the chat.
Travis M beat me to it. We are getting Batman 89 and Superman 76 or 77, both of which are being drawn by Joe Quinones. And this honestly feels like a dream come true because Joe is a huge fan of those two movies. He's a big fan of Richard Donner's Superman and a big fan of the Tim Burton Batman movies. And he's been drawing fan art. I mean, he's been published with DC Comics, but he's been doing fan art of the Tim Burton stuff for years. So it's just proof. It kind of reminds me of the Gabriel Piccolo stuff where he got book deals for drawing Teen Titans. Now Joe Quinones is basically doing his dream book. And it's just makes me happy to see creators that really, really love comics get to draw or create comics that they really, really love.
That makes me feel excited because I know the more and more I talk about my Batman fan fiction, the like I'm just going to speak it into existence. So instead of Batman 89,
69?
69.
And there it is.
And there it is, folks.
We're getting, so two more titles. There is DC, The Middle Ages, which Batman Knight, Wonder Woman Princess. Like, I don't know. I don't know what that could be, but it could be cool. And then Nubia and the Amazons, which makes sense. It seems like they're doing a lot with Nubia. We're getting the Nubia backup stories and
Immortal there's like the little real, the realist or for real. It's something like real.
New original graphic novel that's going to be a part of the DC graphic novel
Real
line.
One, maybe I think it's called.
I don't know. I'm really excited about that title because it feels like an indie comic. So super excited for that. So those are the surprise titles coming from DC Comics. But you're not here to talk about them. Also, you're right. Why not Riddler puzzle box? Much more interesting. I don't care for the Riddler, but you're right. More Riddler, less Joker. Am I right, folks?
I mean, like, I feel like Joker in the same way that with Batman, I feel like, you know, we've seen every iteration of them, right? Like, we've seen them play this little cat and mouse since the beginning.
Have we seen them gay yet, though?
Oh my God! No, we haven't. I mean, like, in my mind, I do. Like,
it's never gonna happen.
Yeah, Batman.
They're not ballsy like Marvel.
Batman, like salad toss or Batman reach around. Like, can we? sorry. Sorry for anyone here who doesn't.
Sorry if we just crushed all of your childhood dreams by saying that Batman and the Joker are gay, but like, let's be honest.
Or are we awakening something in people? Like, think of the possibility. So, thank you all for being here.
Thanks for enjoying, and sorry to like the 3 people that just unsubscribed from this channel. So, you know, just saying. But going back to
another
Future State, because you know I'm rambling. Future State Catwoman. I needed 20 more issues of this. This was so fucking good. This deserved to be a whole arc rather than just being 2 issues. So we see it where things pick up where they left off, where Catwoman's sort of leading this resistance, Snowpiercer-esque style, and she's helping to free the poor and the marginalized from the magistrate. And the first issue, the last couple pages, ended with Batman. I guess Batman died in one of the other Future State titles. Also, that is great. I love that.
So because he broke his back. So like Bane Break Mountain, Bane Break Mountain. There's a joke there somewhere. I'm working on it, folks. I'm working on it.
So I guess in one of the Future State titles, Batman died, or they believed he died. Yeah. And because Batman's always dying, you know, he's always dying. And it's revealed that he's not. And this book got a little romantic on me, and I really, really like that. Considering I'm not getting much of that from the Batman Catwoman run right now, getting a little bit of romance in Future State Catwoman, I was okay with it. So it was just the 2 of them fighting and leading the resistance, and then they get separated at the end, and she has to go and lead her people, and he has to go and help his people, and there's a little bit of Talia al Ghul thrown in there too, which I really, really enjoyed. I like seeing Catwoman as a leader. I really do. She kind of takes on a Batman mantle, if you will, and kind of forms her own cat family.
Like rallying the people.
Exactly. And I really like, some people are going to hate it, but I really liked all of the cat pun like code names. So we had like Leo, and we had there was another one in here, but all of her like followers, they were cat puns, for lack of a better word. And I really
Cheshire Cat, and
Cheshire Cat. Like, I really liked that. And I liked seeing her in a leader type role, because it's not something that we get to see her in a lot. The one thing that I did not like, and I don't understand, was onomatopoeia. It felt like he didn't fit in this book. I like seeing onomatopoeia because he's cool, and I actually did some digging and found out he was in one of the Rebirth Teen Titans arcs for a little bit, which I was surprised about. But onomatopoeia sort of kind of just beats up some people and then walks into a dark tunnel alone and takes off his mask and just keeps on walking. And I'm like, are they going to set him up to do something else in the DC universe? Is he going to be coming back? But I don't know. I really, really liked this. I feel like this is an arc that I can come back to and read, you know, every so often. But I literally did. I finished this and I was like, wow, I want like 3 more issues. And it just makes me excited because this is written by Ram V. And Ram V is doing the current Catwoman run, and I've been a little bit behind on it. So I think I really want to go back and finally catch up and read his Catwoman, because he does get Selena very, very well. So this, and I know I still have Aquaman coming out next week, but this and Wonder Woman Yara Flor are by far my favorite Future State titles. Like, Wonder Woman really, really disappointed me, or Immortal Wonder Woman really disappointed me, but this was a good book right here.
It really was. And there is one moment in here that I really maybe it's a little bit fucked up, I don't know, but there's this moment where Catwoman's having this like dream sequence of Batman, and anyways, she gets slapped by Batman. It's actually onomatopoeia saying slap. But there's this moment, and I think that Ram V literally just wrote this and was like, hey, you know that meme where Batman's slapping Robin? Go ahead and do that. But Batman, so you see here where Batman is like slapping Catwoman. If you can see it in this panel right here.
You're right.
So I want to know what that script looked like when Ram V was giving it to Schmidt, because I just imagine that he was like, that meme with Batman and Robin, but make it Batman
But
and
make it
Catwoman.
Batman and Catwoman. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I'm pretty sure Otto Schmidt was just like, cool, whatever, man.
Done.
Whatever you want.
I want to go ahead and say hello to Smiley Tori, who was there last night with that time of the month ladies crew. So much fun, Tori. It was so great hanging out with you for a couple hours last night. So that kind of like wraps up Future State, because those were the only books I read. So.
But there's 2 other titles from DC that we'll gloss over very, very quickly. Batman Catwoman #3, which I don't have with me. It's somewhere in my stack that way. But Jen's here to help me. I'm gonna just wait. No, it's this way. I don't know. I'm just gonna take hers.
Mm-hmm.
God, I am a Tom King defender. I don't love this. I really love that first issue because there was a lot of really great romantic moments. I don't like this issue. The pacing is very, very weird. The
whole run, though. That's been the whole run. It's been a weird pacing.
No, wrong. That's Dan talking. That's not Jen talking. That's Dan talking.
It is not, like, to me. Tom King, for me, I think that I enjoy his work whenever it is in like trade format. There's so much in here where there's like a conversation going on between 2 characters, and then like half a page later it's another one, and I'm truly just not enjoying it whatsoever. I really enjoy Tom King when he's writing like Mr. Miracle, and I could not give a shit. I don't hate Tom King. I don't think that I like reading his single issues. I will probably go back and read this as a trade. I'm still going to pick up the single issues because I'm a dumb bitch, but I will definitely go back and read the trade and see. I'll probably like it better.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this one's definitely going to be better overall collected, but there's other things about it that just bother me that I'm not crazy about, that I don't think are going to be fixed by, a trade format. And one of those things is Clayman's art. I really, really liked Clayman's art in the Batman run. He did the double date issues in particular, which I really liked. But there's something weird about his art style now where he's drawing people overly sexy, and I don't know why. And I'm just really, really confused. I don't know if it's because it's Black Label and he feels like he can push that boundary. Also, why is Catwoman wearing this weird suit? I wish she was wearing the Joelle Jones suit, because that is such a ridiculously perfect suit. Yeah. And nothing will ever top that. But yet she's wearing like a knockoff Ed Brubaker suit. That's the only thing that I can imagine. Not only that,
knockoff Ed Brubaker.
Speaking of Ed Brubaker suits and weird shit, they just released, I guess, the cover for, I don't know if it's like #5 or 4 or 6 or I don't know. But Jim Lee has been doing the variants. Why is it that Jim Lee always has to draw Catwoman in his Catwoman suit? It doesn't care. It doesn't matter what timeline we're in. Doesn't matter what story we're doing. She could be wearing the purple suit for all she cares. She could be wearing the original green or blue and red suit for all we care. And yet he's always drawing her as he imagines her. And it's like, I don't know. I don't understand Jim Lee. Jim Lee confuses me. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but he bothers me. But
really, just to kind of like to your point, like I do like Clayman's art, and I feel like that is what redeems this book for me.
I like that scene.
But like I get where you're saying, where I feel like there's this moment, but I feel like he is drawing just like very sexual, and at this point in their relationship, like I don't know, I just feel like
Gore called him rated PG Monera, and I feel like you're kind of on to
something there. That is very, very true. Like there'd be a little bit more arching of her butt, I guess. Not that you can really get there with it.
And with this issue, we did get to see Helena Wayne, as Banshee Queen mentioned. And I like seeing Helena. I really do. And I like the fact that they're giving her this sort of her own title instead of throwing her into the Huntress role. And I like that she's this combination between a bat and a cat. And I think that's kind of dope. But I don't know, man. I feel like I hate to say this because I was so excited for this book. And I'm still excited for this book. I feel like I'm hate reading it. I really do. I feel like this might be my mercy. Yeah. But I'm going to continue to buy all of them and read it anyway because I am a dumb bitch.
Yeah.
And a Tom King stan and a Batcat stan. And I just wish it was a little bit better. That's all.
I agree. Or maybe if this Batman Catwoman, if this was the part of Future State, and if this was maybe like a 2-issue limited run, then I think that if Tom King could be a little bit more concise, there wouldn't be all this like back and forth. That's the jumping of the timelines, I think, is what's throwing me off. And I think that's why it's going to be a better trade read. So I do wish that this was Future State, where maybe it was like 4 issues and then one like done, 4 and done.
Yeah, I could see it being like that. Yeah, for sure. Instead of doing this 12 days of Christmas type thing over the span of a year. So it is what it is, you know. So that's Batcat number 3. Moving on to Truth and Justice number 1. Debuted this week. This has been a digital first series from DC Comics, and this is the first paper release, if you will, or physical release. Truth and Justice, from what I understand, it almost feels like a Brave and the Bold, where each individual issue is supposed to be like an anthology style story and it's supposed to highlight a different character. First issue was Vixen, which I am very excited about because I feel like she's such a cool character and such a unique character with a unique background and unique set of powers. And I feel like DC kind of just throws her under the bus or doesn't know what to do with her. But I did not like this. I wanted more from this. It felt very convoluted, for lack of a better word. The art was gorgeous. I really liked the art. I really like how creative they got, because that can be one of the hardest things to do with a character like Vixen, is getting creative with her powers. Because if you don't know, she has a totem that she wears, and she can take on the different abilities and the different attributes of different animals and insects, and sometimes dinosaurs even at some point.
That's, to me, I feel like that's almost why I got like Black Panther vibes from it, because she's like channeling that spirit. So, and I do feel like, now that I'm looking at this cover a little bit closer, I feel like it's an Animorphs cover, because you see
God, you're right. You're totally right. It is an Animorphs cover. It did kind of set it up, though, as what could potentially be either her own series or coming into a later issue, like arc maybe in Justice League at some point. Very well be. I don't know. I feel like this issue, I wanted more from it, and if I'm being honest, it just made me nostalgic and want to go back and reread the miniseries for Vixen by G. Willow Wilson, which, if you have not read that miniseries, it's about 5 or so issues. Again, it's written by G. Willow Wilson, and it really does take Vixen back to her roots. The artwork is absolutely gorgeous, and I don't know, I just want more Vixen. Like, I want to see her back with the Justice League again. I know we saw her a little bit in Justice League of America at the start of Rebirth, and then she kind of just fizzled out and disappeared. So, I don't know.
I feel like DC does that with a lot of characters, because they tend, in my opinion, they focus on like a lot of these main characters, right? Like, we get Batman, we get Superman, we get Wonder Woman, and you know, there's a good reason for it. But I feel like if I am going to compare it to Marvel, I feel like Marvel does a really good job of taking these characters that are a little bit more obscure and putting them in the limelight, instead of just giving us a like Elseworlds version, or like a different, I mean, granted, like there's Earth 616, I won't get too much into that, but I do think that she would be a really interesting character to do more with.
Exactly. So I personally, I don't think I'm going to be picking up any more Truth and Justice. I might pick them up here and there because, like I said, each issue seems to spotlight an individual character. So this one was Vixen. Number 2 is a Superman story, which I think is really weird, because you would think it would be smaller type characters. And I'm getting ready to play devil's advocate on that. So issue 2 is Superman. Issue 3 is Jonah Hex and Constantine, which I think could be really, really interesting. And then issue 4, I'm playing devil's advocate, is Jason Todd. So I will be picking up the Jason Todd issue, of course.
I feel like I'll still probably pick up like the next couple of them, but once again, I think it'll be a better trade read.
Yeah, and there's a good point in the chat. Look at how great Strange Academy is, all new characters. And that's one I'm excited for. I need to pick that one up by trade, but you know, that ended up being, I think, one of the hottest books of 2020.
So here's the thing. This one just came out, and actually, I have another one on my shelf. But I picked up 2 of these tiny, like just to kind of compare. So Strange Academy just came out with issues 1 through 6.
It's a little bite-sized one.
It's a little bite-sized one, but here's the thing. It's 6 issues, and it was $13.99. Miss Marvel just came out, and it was 12 issues for $12.99. So I'm curious why, like, this is $1 more for half the books than Miss Marvel. But I do think that if you want to read Strange Academy and you don't want to pick up the single issues because issue 1 is like $100 right now graded. But
it's still not a bad price though for 6 issues, because Marvel tends to get really weird with their book pricing and the graphic novel pricing, where they'll charge you $17 for a 4-issue series. And then unlike DC, you won't get the extra covers. You won't get sketches or scripts or whatever. But that's good to know that Strange Academy did just come out, because especially with like all the WandaVision stuff, I know that it's not necessarily Wanda Maximoff, but it's still mystical, magical goodness. So,
and we do get, I haven't kept up with this one, but I was definitely reading issue 1 when it came out. But we do get, oh my goodness, I'm trying to find her, but yeah, a ton of new characters. And it's just really weird. We get a lot of Doctor Strange, and we get magic in here as well. So where magic stands here. Yeah,
I gotta pick it up. Okay, that's all you had to say. I'm in it to win it. But that is everything for DC. We're finally out of DC. Done. Now it's time for the real goodness.
It only took us 30 minutes, but we're done with 2 books or 3 books.
No, 4. We did 4 whole books.
Oh, that's right, because we did Batcat and Truth and Justice. Truth and Justice? Truth and Justice. Not Justice and Truth.
Where would you like to go? Because like we said, this week was a huge week for books.
Let's go Marvel. Since we just talked about DC.
I was thinking, saying, look at us on that.
Look at us.
On that brainwave.
We may have different opinions on things, but we know.
That's about to break my heart.
What?
I don't know. You said you have different opinions, and then we're talking about this book, and I'm like, oh no.
No. Okay, so I think that we're going to talk about this one. We are going to go ahead and talk about Black Widow.
I want this to be a whole comic, by the way. Yeah. This is the coolest thing. Oh, also, by the way, guys, you guys were here last month when we were talking about solicitations, and I made the comment that they're doing all the Alien Xenomorph covers, and guess what? In solicitations this month, Marvel announced that they are doing Predator versus the Avenger covers. Who called it? Ya girl. So you better go out and pre-order a bunch of them, because I'm pre-ordering a bunch of them, and it just feels really good to predict something like that. I don't know. I'm very proud of myself here. Yeah. Big brain thinking.
I love all these covers. And I feel like I'm missing some of them, so this is definitely going to be one of those like back issue hunts. So just in case you didn't know, these are the same book.
Me and Jen were having a conversation backstage about going into comic shops and people buying, like me, buying multiple of the same book because they like all the covers, and then being told, oh, sweetie, don't you know it's the same book? And I'm like, I'm trying to give you money. Shut up and leave me alone.
Shut up and let me just get my variant cover, okay?
Yeah, we're variant hunters in this house. But I love this cover. This cover's so... I want a whole book, please. We've already gotten Batman and Superman fighting the alien and the Predator. Why can't we have the Avengers? Hello?
I really, I think that the cover of Captain Marvel and Alien, like that's the one that I want. Like if I could pick one, then I would go Captain Marvel with Alien.
Good. That's a good cover because it's a play off of Aliens and Jones and Ripley. But we're here to talk about Black Widow. So it's been a while since we've talked about this book because for some weird reason, there was like a month hiatus between issue 4 and 5, even though it feels like this is what kind of wrapped up the arc. I don't know about you. This issue broke me, broke me in two. I was laying in bed crying my eyes out because this book gets a little emotional.
Not gonna lie, I feel like every week there's usually like one or two issues that I'm like, this one broke me, either in a good way or a bad way, but there's always one that just fucking breaks me.
And there was another book that we're going to talk about that I can't speak for Jen, but broke me, and I'm pretty sure it broke her too.
I'm pretty sure the one that we're talking about, like the literal first panel.
Okay, then yeah, it broke us. Cool. So this one, we've just learned that Black Widow's family has died, except JK, no, they haven't. Bucky Barnes has put them in a secure location that she doesn't even know about. But this issue, so we get a moment between Natasha and Clint Barton, aka Hawkeye, and he's just trying to comfort her and is like, I'm here for you no matter what. And she's like, I know, but I just want to be left alone right now. And he gets really emotional. I'm going to start crying. He gets really emotional on her and is like, in this fantasy life that you led, you had Steve, you had James, and you even named the cat Logan. He's like, but I wasn't a part of your fantasy. I wasn't a part of your dream life. And it's like, made me sad, because then you swap like 2 pages over and she's by herself and she's in her little apartment. And who shows up? James Buchanan Barnes, who's there to comfort her as she's crying hysterical over what she's lost. James Buchanan fucking Barnes. And he's like, this is the life that I've always dreamed of with you. And just made me sad, because Clint Barton loves Natasha so much and wants nothing to do but to be with her and to make her happy. And she loves him, but she will always choose Winter Soldier over Hawkeye. And I understand, I get it, but it just breaks my heart for this man. Like, Hawkeye, I am free, I am single. Listen, if you want to wife me up, you can wife me up. We'll be okay together. But it just, between this book and between the ending of Tales of Suspense, which was very similar, where, Natasha faked her death and again, because she always does, Clint thought she was dead, but Bucky knew that she was alive because she allowed him to know that information. And it's like, she's always gonna choose Bucky. Not only that, but I came to the realization a couple days ago, and I texted you about it, that Winter Soldier, Black Widow, and Hawkeye is the ultimate throuple. We always talk about Cyclops, Wolverine, and Jean Grey, but listen, Bucky, Nat, and Clint are the ultimate throuple. Also, I agree.
Bucky, Nat forever.
I like them together too. I think they're my favorite, but my heart still aches for Clint Barton. But I just really like this. And then, after Natasha realizes that her family is gone, she starts to go on this sort of like rage binger and is like hurting a bunch of people. And I did not expect this issue to get as emotional as it did. I expected to just have a fun time, and I hurt everywhere. Also, what? Wait. I've always wanted to read this book, but I've never gotten the chance. But now that I know, oh my God.
No joke. Gore Vidal has read everything. Like everything. Everything.
I guess I'm going to have to see if my local library has this book. And if they don't, I'm going to have to buy the book. But I'm tired of these books making me cry. I'm a good person, and I'm tired of being attacked every week. Like, listen, I went from not really liking Black Widow at the beginning of last year to like her being one of my favorite characters now, because she is so complex and so intense and so interesting. And like, I don't know, there's people that tell me that they don't like this run. And I saw a comment on Twitter where they wish that this run, yes, but you came around.
I did not like issue 1 whatsoever. I almost dropped it.
Which makes me sad, but here we are now. But there was somebody who made a comment on Twitter saying that they liked this Black Widow run, but they wish that it was part of an alternate universe and it was not part of Nat's like continuing timeline. I'm like, why not? Like, why can't this girl who, was subjected and basically had all of humanity stolen from her, why isn't she allowed to experience that humanity again and then have it stripped away? I think that's a really interesting concept, and I think that's something that's going to kind of bleed into her history for years to come going forward. So
Mm-hmm.
also Luna has joined us, everybody. So the show is over. It is Luna time.
It is Luna time. I'm just kind of sitting here like, I don't know, like I always know that he knows that there's a show going on because he jumps up here, but like, does he know how cute he's being? Like, I can't stop petting him, folks.
He's the cutest.
He really is.
But those are my thoughts on Black Widow. I'm sorry I kind of like screamed and like died over the table, but
that is okay. Once again, you kind of hit the nail on the head and said it all.
Like, that's how I felt reading it. Like, I literally flipped to that page and I'm like, oh, please kill me. So, fun times with reading comics with Mars. It could be an ASMR where it's just me crying and making really weird noises, over things that hurt me. So,
yeah.
But that's the only thing I picked up from Marvel. Did you pick up Luna is just having a time, man.
He really is. Like, folks, he is just living his best life, getting like all the little chin scratches. Like, oh my God, he's got gunk in his eyes. He won't like me doing that. But the other thing that I really did enjoy about this Black Widow was that the first couple issues, like I didn't like them. Like I don't like how she is in this suburban, I don't know, I don't want to say like basic bitch mode, but she's like more or less driving the minivan, wearing the mom jeans. And for Black Widow, that just seemed so unnatural. But in retrospect, seeing what Kelly Thompson did with this run and seeing that like we had to set that up for Black Widow in order for this to happen. So, and you're right, at the end of issue 4, it looked like her family had died. But in this one, we find out that no, they didn't. So I'm kind of hoping, kind of not hoping, like, do we see that again? Do we see her family appear in another issue? Do we see her kids come back to her? So that's an interesting like loose string I think that they could cleverly bring back, but they would have to cleverly bring it back in a very like subtle way or very graceful way. I don't know.
No, I agree totally, 100%.
So the other one that I did get from Marvel, I think I read a couple other Marvel books, but I did get King in Black because I've been reading it. It's been really, really fun. This is one of the variant editions. I think I didn't even get cover A. I ended up getting 2 variant covers for this. But as you can see here, Silver Surfer shows up, and this has just been a very fun like romp through the Marvel universe overtaken by Null, who is like this big bad. But I think that in true Marvel fashion, they're just going to go they're obviously the good guys are going to win at the end of the day. I really don't want to give too much away because there's some really interesting plot twist at the end, kind of plot twist or reveals at the end of this. But it's King in Black has been actually a pretty good, solid read. So.
Which is good to know because it feels like Marvel events can be very, very hit or miss.
And they can be very overwhelming. And like with this one, I can see how a lot of people are staying away because not only are there the main King in Black titles, but there's like each one kind of has like a spin-off. Like we see Sword, we see the Union, we see one of my favorites though. I absolutely love Gwenom versus Carnage with the King in Black. So excited to see more of that. I feel like I did grab more Marvel books.
You tend to always read more Marvel than what I do.
I did. You know what? I haven't read them, but I did pick up Cable number 8, which is like fuckboy Cable. He's fucking all the Cuckoo sisters, I guess. And then Marauders, which I haven't read yet. So I'll definitely get a chance to read those later, hopefully. And okay, maybe that was it for Marvel.
Still pretty decent amount.
It is, and I did end up picking this up. It's the Iron Man cover, but for Black History Month. And then I did also get the other Black History Month variant, but I'm not seeing it here because it's got I did read another Marvel title. Holy shit, I cannot believe I didn't talk about this one. because it is seriously one of my favorite titles. Oh my God, where is
Place your bets
it?
now on what it could be.
Damn it. It's, oh my God, I want to show it and I don't have it right here. Sorry, y'all. It's Modoc. I fucking love Modoc so damn much. And it's written by Patton Oswalt, and I, keep kind of talking about how much I love Patton Oswalt. Do, 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 do. Ta-da! Okay, so in basically what's going on with this Modoc run is that Modoc, who is just a crazy asshole evil genius, has been trying to figure out who he's having these memories of his like this family that he never really had, and he's this evil asshole, but he's like, how can I have the memories of a family? Like, I'm a jerk, I don't deserve a family. And then of course our girl Gwenpool is in it, breaking the fourth wall the way that Deadpool does, but if not cuter, I guess. And there's moments where she goes to Krakoa, who, like, a lot of the new X stuff is written by Jonathan Hickman, who his style of writing is just info dump. And she even makes fun of like a character being written by Hickman, and she's like, well, maybe you'll be put in one of like Hickman's charts or graphs or something.
I love that.
And even in this, there's a moment where there's a page in here that has like dotted lines running down it, and then like 2 pages later she ends up killing Modoc, and she's like, oh shit, I killed Modoc, how did I do that? It's his own series and I just killed him in his own series. And she's like, wait, that page a couple pages back that had the dotted lines, just cut it out. Anyways, she finds where Modoc's family is hidden, the memories that he's having of his family. She finds them and he goes there, spoiler alert, only to find out that it's the wrong family. So Modoc is so good.
It just seems like a fun series, and like every time you talk about it, I'm like, I wish I had picked this up, but I think I'm just gonna have to trade weight it. But I'm excited. And like, when is that Modoc show coming out? Like, they kept talking about it, and now it's like I never hear anything, and I want to watch it.
It is coming out soon, but I think it's animated too, or not animation, but like a weird claymation, like 3D animation type of stuff. So I did find this. So I did get the Champions #4 Black History Month with Riri Williams. So that was I'm not reading this title, so it was just merely a cover by. But I did read this, an Immortal Hulk Flatline, which is a one-shot done by Declan Shalvey. Declan Shalvey. I always want to like mix up the letters on that one. But what this one does, I feel like we get these stories with these characters a lot. But in this one, Hulk, Bruce Banner are basically having that. I like to think of it as that, like, who wears the bat mask? Does Batman wear does Bruce Wayne wear the Batman mask, or does Batman wear the Bruce Wayne mask? And so this one has that conversation of, who am I? Am I both? Who is Bruce Banner when the Hulk comes out? Where does Hulk go when Bruce Banner's there? So it was really interesting. And are you reading Once and Future?
Nope.
Okay. So, and that's all right, because I definitely understand that Kieran Gillen is not for everyone. But, or at least Once and Future is not. But in Once and Future, there's an awesome Gran lady. Her name is Gran. She's his grandma. And she's just this like badass grandma with like a fucking chainsaw and guns each issue. It's just it's crazy. So there's this moment in this where Hulk, or Bruce Banner, meets up with his previous teacher who got exposed to the gamma stuff. And so she literally gets like hulked out. And I really wish that this wasn't a one shot, because it was damn good. It was a good, enjoyable read.
Well, that sounds fun.
So that was my Marvel stuff.
Your Marvel stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, since you mentioned Kieran Gillen, I just real quick want want to plug the fact that you were right, because Die, we officially learned, is ending
20.
at 20. So we are getting the perfect D20. And I'm just like, can we really wrap up everything that we've started by the 20th issue? But
yes, I really hope so. And because I think that volume 1, the first arc of Die, was damn good. The second one was good as well. This third one was just a lot, and I feel like it got very convoluted. So I'm really ready, and I've said this for the past couple issues, I'm ready for it to wrap up.
Ready for it to die.
I literally want Die to die. But I think it'd be good. I would almost even be okay with the main storyline dying and then have some spin-offs, I think, or like one-shots, kind of the same way that Kieran Gillen did with Wicked and Divine, where you'd get like little historic like one-shots. I think that would be pretty interesting if he did.
I want that. Yeah, I'd be okay with that. And imagine how pretty that collected edition is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be fancy as fuck.
Fancy AF.
Fancy AF. So that's everything for the big two. Now it's time for us to get into the actual fun stuff.
It only took us an hour to get to the fun stuff.
It took us an hour to get to all the fun indie stuff. Where would you like to start?
I think that, this is always tough because I'm like, do I start with the ones that I didn't really like? Do I go just ham? There was one that I know that both you and I didn't really care for, so I want to kind of get that one out of the way, and maybe the other one by that same publisher.
We can do that.
Okay. So, Black Cotton.
Black Cotton. Look at that. Look at that synchronization there, y'all. We are on point tonight.
This one, I felt like I wanted a lot out of, but it didn't deliver.
I warned you. I was like, this is going to be an issue that goes one of two ways. Either it's going to be really, really great, or it's going to be very cringy, for lack of a better word. So for those of you that don't know, Black Cotton is a new series from Scout Comics, which we have always said is hit or miss. And it basically flips the racial card in reverse. So it is white people who are oppressed, and it's black privilege, that, is rampant in, I guess, the United States. And we talked about this before, but I was like, it's going to be a hit or miss. And this book made me feel wildly uncomfortable. And I feel like that's the point, because we see some scenes, it starts off with, a black cop has shot a white girl who was innocent. And then we get to see protests, and it's just white justice, white lives matter. We see a sign that says WLM, and I get that that's the point. And looking into the history of this book, this is done by a black creative team. So I know that good intentions are behind it. And that's why I'm saying that I think that these wildly uncomfortable moments are meant to make you feel uncomfortable. But I feel like this book just did not deliver in the way that it could have. And if I'm being quite honest with you, a story like this is not interesting enough to be a single issue by issue story. I feel like this is something that should have been an original graphic novel.
I agree. I didn't necessarily feel like uncomfortable with it. But like you said, it flips the script on, the Black Lives Matter movement that we're currently seeing. And I think that this is a conversation that we need to have. And I really hope that this book proves me wrong. Like, I really hope that when issue 2 comes out in May,
which is crazy to think about, that the next issue is in 3 months.
And I think that I wasn't sure if I'm going to pick up issue 2. I probably will try to pick up issue 2, but I really wish that the story pushed the boundaries a little bit more for me. And I think that even going to the artwork, like the artwork, it's simple black and white. And like there's one page that felt like it was a spread page when it really could have just been like one panel. So I think even like the pacing of it is off. So I think, in what I imagine, like kind of knowing all these things about how I think that this book was pitched, or how I think that this book, like the intentions were there, and how I think this could have been a really, really strong first issue that everyone's talking about. I think that the art needed to be pushed a little bit further. I think the colors, there needed to be like more dynamic
more
color and
stark
shading.
contrast.
Yes. And I think that the story was there, but once again, so I think that if this book maybe had a little bit of a better editorial team, that it could have been a little bit of a stronger book. Once again, I hope that issue 2 proves me wrong. But I just think it looked like this book was rushed. And it reminded me of that in the way that I feel like Heathen Volume 3 was rushed, where
Okay.
does that make sense?
Well, Heathen Volume 3, I don't think Heathen Volume 3 felt rushed. It felt like the love that went into Heathen sort of trailed off.
Mm-hmm.
But I do get what you're saying, where it feels very weak compared to what it either was or what it could have been.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I feel like that's a perfect thing. Is like it feels like this could have been a book if it was done by a bigger publisher, say Image, or even looking at smaller publishers like Volt and Mad Caves.
Mm-hmm.
It's been getting a little bit more traction, and like you said, with more structured editorial teams. Because
Mm-hmm.
with Scout, we've always said they're very hit or miss, and it almost feels like they're willing to publish whatever it is that comes across their docket.
Mm-hmm. I've actually talked because Scout is based in Fort Myers, where I used to live, and I've gotten to talk with the team there, and I think that they do some really cool things. The way that they do choose books is pretty cool, but this one, it missed it for me. But I think that if this was a book published by Aftershock, because think about how dynamic of a story. I mean, I know I've only talked about it, but like Lonely Receiver, how dynamic of a story that was, and even Scout's Honor that's coming out. So I do think that if Black Cotton had been part of that editorial team, I think it would be a much stronger book, and I would be here this week being like, you've got to pick this book up. Everybody's got to be picking this book up. Where I'm really not sure how I feel. So
Black Cotton. That's it for it.
I'm still gonna maybe pick up issue 2 just to see where it goes, but sorry, bud. The other one from Scout, which is under their Black Caravan, Black Friday. What were your thoughts on this one?
Well, first, the one thing I want to mention with this one, and I feel like we never talk about this, is the page quality.
Mm-hmm.
When we look at this compared to Black Cotton, this one has a very nice stiff matte cardboard type cover, which I thought was really, really cool. It almost felt upcycled in a way. And I really liked that. And then we look at Black Cotton, which feels very cheaply made and just very like the pages will bleed at the ounce of like any type of moisture. Black Friday. I like the concept of it. I like the idea that Black Fridays are so terrible, and this one got really dark. So in a way, it kind of felt like an Ice Cream Man or even like a where it's these retail workers on Black Friday that have already witnessed death and destruction so many times before that they're almost immune to it, and that there is something deeper and darker hiding underneath the floorboards of this store. I really like the concept of it. The artwork, I'm a little torn on because I liked the art and how the characters were presented. It kind of reminded me of like a darker Shel Silverstein book. And the way they were drawn, like when I opened that, I was like, huh, this looks like Shel Silverstein. That's a tongue twister, y'all. But I wanted the artwork to be a little bit darker because when we look at the backgrounds of the store, it's all done in this very stark blue watercolor. And I just wanted it to be darker. I wanted it a bit more creepy. And we get that in some panels because I think that some of the like black humor or even just the black dialogue, if we can call it that, where he's literally like, all right, it's probably a kid under there. You know, I've seen this scene before. Like, I know exactly how it went down and that somebody died here. Like, he's immune to literally blood on the floor of his store. And as somebody who has worked a Black Friday, I understand how nasty and evil it can get. But I don't know. I wanted more from this book. And I feel like, unlike Black Cotton, where I'm kind of just like, I could care less what happens with this one. This one, I'm at least interested enough in where it does get a compiled trade. I'm going to pick it up because I am curious as to where it goes. But in terms of single issues, I feel like the ending wasn't as impactful as maybe it could have been.
See, I feel different. Like I want to pick this single issue up, and the artwork reminded me of Jim Mafood.
Okay.
That was the vibes that I got from the art. So
we totally went different directions there, and that's okay.
But I do think that Jim Mafood, like when I do think about that, and I even think about, oh my goodness, I hate myself for not remembering the artist of Tank Girl. But I think about like that. Yeah. So I think about that artwork style and some of those stories. So the way that the characters are drawn, like I do want it to be a little bit darker, maybe like heavy-handed on like the inks. I still thought it was a really good book. As someone who has worked retail like my entire, like for the most part, my entire adult life, there are moments in this where I'm like, yep, I've been there.
Yep.
And not only am I here to write Batman Year 18, Barely Legal, as well as, you know, Batman 2, Electric Boogaloo, the pearls, fake pearls or pearl necklace.
Reckoning of the Pearls.
As well as Batman Year 69. I'm also here to write, because you just mentioned Ice Cream Man, and we'll go ahead and talk about W. Maxwell Prince's other like anthology series, later today. But I would love to write something like in that style of working in retail, because my first retail job was Victoria's Secret, and some of the things that I have seen there, like I'm just going to say it, like bloody and poopy panties. It is not fun. It is not glamorous. So just thinking about like a retail horror themed anthology.
Yeah, that would be good. That would actually be a really, really good book. I kind of like that. Let's pitch this book.
Yeah.
But that's my thoughts on Black Friday and Scout. Like Scout, I don't know what to think of them, because I feel like every time I'm like going into it thinking I'm going to get something really, really great and something that's eventually going to find its way onto my pool list, and I feel like I get disappointed every time. They've got these really cool concepts, but poor execution. And I think you said it best, where it's like, if there was a stronger editorial team behind some of these stories, I feel like it would elevate them to the next level, you know?
Now, there are a couple of stories that I do think do that like indie style really well with Scout, and one of them is Gut Ghost. I love Gut Ghost by Enzo Garza, and the style of it works like that. I think that if Gut Ghost had like a huge editorial team or anything like that, I would hate it. I did also enjoy Canopus by Dave Chisholm. I loved that one. So there are some stories, but and Yasmin, I absolutely loved Yasmin this past year. But I don't know, hit or miss. Sometimes issue 1 comes out really strong, and then issue 2 is meh. But I still think that I'm going to pick up Black Friday number 2 if I can find it, because sometimes the problem with Scout is, one, that, you know, the second issue is not coming out for three more months, and then 2, not a lot of shops order Scout because they've been stuck with back issues and things like that. So they're not going to, you know, invest. They'll get number 1, but not invest in the rest of the series because it's not strong sales.
Yeah, 100%. So that was that for Scout. The rest, I think, are books that we really, really enjoyed. Yeah. So it should be a fun rest of the show.
I'm looking through like all of these, and like all of these are really good.
It's a good time. So what do we want to lead with first?
Ooh.
Since we talked about W. Maxwell Prince, should we just lead off with the little haha?
Yeah, let's do haha.
Yeah, let's do that. Oh my God, I love this series. I really do. I think maybe it's because I'm sad that I didn't stick with Ice Cream Man or pick up Ice Cream Man in single issues when it did. So now I'm like living that like regret, much like Lonely Receiver. But I like how, this is going to sound dark, I like how depressing these books get. I don't know why. I always liked books like, it kind of reminds me of like, this is going to be really bad, like Requiem for a Dream. Requiem for a Dream, which was just like flat out depressing, but felt very real and in your face. I feel like that's kind of like how haha works in terms of, you know, horror and realistic horror. And I don't even know if we can call it horror at this point. I feel like it's not horror. It's just realistic depression with clowns to make it, I don't know. Whatever. So, issue 2, recapping real quick, just follows this like really cute clown girl, but she's not a cute clown girl. She's actually a mom with a lot of mental health issues. And it's basically about her abducting, for lack of a better word. She doesn't necessarily abduct because the child willfully goes along with her as a child would. And they go on this road trip across the country to get to what they call Funville. And they think that Funville, almost like a Neverland, will change their lives forever. And it gets dark because, you've got this child and her mom who's dealing with mental illness. The mom who is going to prostitution, I guess, for funds, and then what eventually happens to our young protagonist in the end as it's been revealed. But like I said, this one in particular, and I guess I don't know if it's the mental health stuff. And I really like books that tend to have a forefront on mental health, whether it's good or bad. It continues to just be amazing. And I like the art style in this one too, because I didn't realize that we were getting a rotating cast of artists. So really excited to see what more we get from Haha. I don't know what issue 3 was.
It's a mime.
Is issue 3 a mime? It is a mime. And I don't know if it's issue 4 or issue 5, but whatever was just revealed for solicitations, it is a grandma clown. So I feel like a grandma clown story could get really, really depressing. And I'm on board with this series 100% with where it goes and what it can take us to.
I'm really curious about where the timeline is going to go for this, because in the first issue, like all of these stories are like different, like kind of horror stories, or I almost want to say like Black Mirror type, like that reality, but that like depressing reality, maybe minus the technology that like Black Mirror really talks about in our relationship with it. But in Haha issue number 2, it does feature this younger female burlesque clown, and she's about to go on stage, and it goes back to her name is Rudy, or Rudolph, and it goes back to her past in this relationship with her mom, how her mom basically does like fetish sex work, and I think it's interesting that there is a conversation about that, as well as like mental health issues, because there's some serious like mental health like conversation in this. But her mom kidnaps her, takes her away, and they are going to go to this mecca called Funville. And in issue 1,
you're right,
Funville. So spoiler alert, whenever they do get to Funville in issue 2, it is no longer in operation. And in issue 1 of Funville, it's still like semi in operation.
But it was ending.
So I'm curious to see where the rest of the series will go as far as the timeline, because right now we're in the future from that. So like if
maybe Funville is like our ice cream man, where it's that one constant crypt keeper type thing. And it always makes me wonder why this book wasn't named Funville instead of Haha. I was thinking. I like Haha, but now that you've said that,
it should have been Funville. But I think that maybe that's the point where maybe it's supposed to be that subtle background thing, as opposed to like in your face. But I think that more people would be, because I've heard people either say they really, really liked issue 1 or they didn't like issue 2 or vice versa. So I think if it was called Funville, people would understand the like shared universe of it. So, haha.
And I also like the idea too of it being called Haha, and you have these clowns that are supposed to be, when you think of a clown, you think of happiness and joy, and it turns out that these clowns in their own way are each very broken and very fucked up. So I like how dark it's getting, and I don't know if I'm gonna say that 4 more issues in, but I'm enjoying it a lot. I really am, and I think I might actually like this better than Ice Cream Man. I really do.
So I was just going to say, speaking of Ice Cream Man, so Ice Cream Man was my pick of the week for Graphic Novel Book Club. So we will be talking about it over at
It's
Comic
still a good
Shop News.
book. I just think I prefer Haha over Ice Cream Man. I don't know why. I think it's because it's more depressing.
Possibly because Haha is more depressing because there's actually some like bright moments in Ice Cream Man. But Ice Cream Man is that like Twilight Zone crypt keeper where you see this character kind of like happily going through other people's lives and revealing the dark but sweet dark parts of it. So this one, it may not look like horror, but it definitely is. If you did watch my horror, my like top 10 horror from the last 10 years, Ice Cream Man is definitely on it.
100%.
If you haven't read it and you want to read it and you want to read it and you want to join us talking about it, that'll be over on Comic Shop News this Wednesday night. And the link is in the description down below.
So yeah, I really like Haha. I don't know. I really like all these books that we're going to talk about. Should we talk about my favorite book of the week? My favorite? I lied. I have so many favorite books of the week, but I really want to talk about Hollow Heart finally. Now that you finally read it, you have 3 covers. I have 2, but I have 1 more on the way. Of course, you got the David Mack variant because of course you did.
I love David Mack so much. I will literally buy any fucking cover of David Mack.
God, this book. Let me do this cover instead because this is more representative of what the series is. All right, I want you to talk about this book because I already had a chance to read this book as a review copy and was gushing literally all over the floor about it, but I want to know what you think now that you've read it.
So just as like a little like I knew going in that it was going to be this like queer horror monster like kind of like love story, but it felt like something different when I was reading it, and I got a lot of like Frankenstein vibes because this character Elle, who is, you know, this character that we see, he's basically, or maybe like Reanimator, where he's this like reanimated like corpse, but from like part human, part like robot skeleton big mech thing. So apparently he's there to like either fight or whatever he's there to do, but he's there basically, or they are there against their will, where they're kept there, and this thing just wants to fucking die. Like, it hurts. And I love the conversation with this because it also reminds me of Swamp Thing in a way, where it's like this monster, but I feel more attached to the monster, quote unquote, than I do like granted I do like the human characters in it, but I really we must protect Elle at all costs.
100%. So it's a gay love story, or it's going to become a gay love story, and it's, you know, this person who's become deformed and is a creature. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Hype Man Travis.
You know, and it's like you said, he wants to die, and he knows that leaving this place will kill him, and so he hasn't gotten there yet, but we know what's going to end up is he's getting attached to this mechanic, Mateo, and Mateo has this conversation with him and realizes, hey, I'm going to help you escape. I'm going to help you get free, and I'm going to help you find your way of life again. And it's going to turn into this like Shape of Water type romance / Beauty and the Beast type romance. And I just love that. And the fact that they could have made this a straight romance. They really could have. But the fact that they went and they made it something queer makes me really, really excited. And the fact that this is Volt Comics' first title of 2021, this is a bold choice because this is a very, very good book. I have literally heard everybody just talk nothing but good things about this book, and that makes me happy because I was excited for this. As soon as they announced this, I was like, that is my #1 book for 2021 that I am excited for. Read the review copy and was like, all right, I'm in it. I'm in it 100%. So I think that the only gripe I have is maybe some of the art style is a little bit rough, and not necessarily the art style, but the coloring. But then we get these really sharp contrasts of pink and blue, and I think that that's really, really interesting. That they're taking this monster creature and it is pink, for lack of a better word. The queer pairing will be this lovely monster Elle who we are going to protect for the rest of our lives, and hopefully the mechanic Mateo, who is protecting him and helping him. And like they have this like really intimate conversation where, you know, Mateo's talking and he's like carrying on a conversation by himself, and he's like, okay, I get it, you're not a talker. That's okay, I'll talk enough for the both of us. And Elle kind of speaks up and is like, I hate my voice. I hate how synthetic it feels. I hate that it doesn't feel like me. And for me, that kind of spoke to like a trans sort of like a trans person who's not happy with themselves, or
like
even
their body dysmorphia.
Body dysmorphia, that's exactly the word I'm looking for. And Mateo simply goes, I understand that and I can fix that. And I'm like, I like this. I like queer people being happy. I like monsters being happy. I like queer monster romances being happy. And I know me and you were talking about this book where, you know, we feel like there's going to be a lot of heartwarming moments, but I don't think that that's going to happen without a little bit of like depressing moments and sad moments. So I'm really just, I have issue 2 in my inbox, and I'm like, I'm going to read it and I need to figure out what's happening, because this is already my new favorite Bold comic title. Like 100%.
Yeah.
Pick this one up, y'all. Please.
I do like, it's funny because last year when I was reading, and granted, like last year at this time, we were just kind of becoming aware of the pandemic, and writing my best of 2020 list. It was kind of weird because there was like that 2-3 month period where like stuff was kind of like meh. But I can 100% see just by reading the first issue, this is obviously going to be on my top 10 list. There's honestly been so many books that have already kind of come out or finished, like where do I put those? So I think that I'm probably going to end up having to do like a top 100 list, because there has just been some quality stuff already coming out this year.
I just feel like comics, we're getting braver and we're getting bolder with what stories we're allowed to tell. I think publishers are starting to realize that it's a medium. It's not a genre anymore, it's a medium. So that allows different angles and different stories to be told. And, you know, we see that with a couple more titles that we're going to talk about, because I don't want to spoil, but it's just comics are great, man. Comics are fantastic. And I love comics. That's all I can say.
What are some of the other books that you, I think, do you want to talk about the other one that like broke us this week?
Yeah, let's talk about it. So this was me trying to segue. Barbalian Red Planet. This shouldn't be a comic. A book like this should not be a comic. And if you told me that Barbalian the Red Planet was going to be the most important piece of queer media, whether it's a book, a movie, a song, a show, you name it, if you told me it was the most important part of queer media I've ever consumed, I would have looked at you and been like, you're fucking crazy, dude. First of all, it's an alien. Second of all, it's published by Dark Horse of all things. Third of all, it's a spin-off title from a superhero universe. So we're 3 for 3 at this point. But this book, man, I don't know if I need to thank Jeff Lemire. I don't know if I need to thank Tate Brown-Ball or Gabriel Hernandez-Walta. I don't know if I need to thank everybody. But this is a book that I know I'm prone to crying with creators at conventions, especially when it comes to books that I'm like obsessed with. Like, I met Jeff Lemire and we were talking about his Moon Knight series and how important that book was to me with mental illness, and I lost it. And like the both of us are crying over our books. When I take this to him or to Tate Bromball, I'm gonna fucking lose it. Like, I will fucking lose it at a convention. The fact that this book deals with queer identity, it deals with queer acceptance, it deals with the fucking AIDS crisis, you know, and resistance and love and hope, and just there's a couple pages in this this issue in particular. First off, this fucking spread, where it is really the queer flag and it's resisting and hope and caring and loving. My jaw absolutely dropped. And then there was another line in this book. Where's the line at? It has to deal with, of course, being queer, but this fucking book, and it makes me sad that there's only one issue.
One more issue. Yeah.
One issue left, but it's going to wrap it up perfectly, and then I'm going to immediately buy the trade and consume it all over again. But here's the line, and it's, with our main character, and I can't think of his name. I'm drawing a fucking blank. But he's at one of their queer rallies, resistance rallies or whatnot, and he says, "Blessed are the queer, for we shall inherit the world once we survive it." I got fucking chills. I'm literally reading this book at like 11 o'clock at night, getting ready to, snuggle down and go to sleep. And I'm like, let me just read this. And it fucking stirred something in me that just made me emotional. And this book, I don't want to say it, this book is not going to have a happy ending.
I really don't think so. I mean,
it's not going to have a happy ending, and I understand that. I understand why. And it's not a... Queer people who consume queer media tend to have a problem where we get queer content, and then unfortunately it's not happy content.
It's tragic.
It's tragic. And I hate that this is what it feels like we've been stereotyped as, is having these tragic stories. And this is, in fact, a tragic story, but I feel like it's one that needs to be told because it's very historical, and I didn't expect it to get as historical as it did. I almost feel like this book might have been pitched as something totally different.
Oh, and then Jeff Lemire
slid in and was like, all right, I'm going to take this and we're going to use this, but it works. It absolutely works perfectly. And this book is very, what's the word I'm looking for? I know how it's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. It's very telegraphed. That's the word I was looking for. This book it's a very telegraphed story. And that's okay, because it's when you get to lines like the queers will inherit the earth. It's when you get into these conversations between characters and the conversations that they have. You had this one where Barbalian and the main character, they're starting to get closer to one another, and Barbalian's like, I'm not who I say I am. I need to tell you the secret. And you get that page turn, and you knew it was coming. I knew it was coming for 2 or 3 pages, where he becomes his true self and he says, this is who I am. And while I knew it was coming, it was still as effective as if it was, a shocker, because that's what this is for. I mean, it's a page flip going into a full page spread.
Because you feel, at least for me, I feel like I was still holding my breath. I knew what it was going to be, but I was holding my breath waiting for it. This one, because this week, because of snowstorms and things like that, I actually didn't get my comics on Wednesday. I didn't get them until Friday, and I have 2 shows on Friday. So the one I did with Dan is earlier in the day, and it was I knew that I could only read 4 comic books before the show. I think I ended up being able to sneak in 5 or 6. And for whatever reason, Barbalian just wasn't on the list. And he's like, seriously though, Barbalian, it's a heartbreaker. Issue. It's a very heavy issue. And so I'm like, really? Okay. And he's like, yeah, literally first page. And I'm like, okay. So on live, we're sitting there doing the show, and I'm like, okay, let me just go ahead and open it up. Oh my God. First page, first panel in issue 4 just ripped my heart.
Fucking hit you like a bag of rocks.
Oh my goodness. So serious. And then, we ended the show, and then this was the first one that I ended up reading after that. So I think you're right. I think that I don't want our comments to I know we're on issue 4, which is the penultimate issue of this series, but I really think, and you can probably guess what's going on by how we talk about it each week. But seriously, if you haven't already picked this up, if you haven't already read it, I do think that it would work better if you've read Black Hammer, but I think that this book is so important.
I don't think so.
It would work. I think it would work better if you've read Black Hammer, but I honestly, after reading this issue, I do not think you need to read volume 1 of Black Hammer. I think it works a little bit better, but not necessary.
Because I think, honestly, it all sets up as what it is to be. I mean, you know, it could be any alien, not necessarily Barbalian. Yeah, it could be an alien that's just fled his Earth, has come to ours, in the process discovered that he is queer, gets accepted into the queer community, has some guy coming after him, chasing after him because he's filthy and needs to be brought back home to be punished and tortured. It could be any alien. It could be any character. It could be any universe. And that's why I love this story. And that's why it comes to such a shock when I say that a comic book spinoff is one of the most important comics that I think I've read in years. You know, it's crazy.
And one of the things that I love about Barbalian as well is that I feel like it is set in the 80s during the AIDS crisis. And I could go on about, you know, historic. I won't get into it here right now. But I think that this book is so timeless. And I think that this book can speak to so many truths about still 4 decades later after the AIDS epidemic. It still speaks volumes to the queer community. And honestly, a lot of marginalized communities. So, and I think that, to your point, is why it's so historic, and it's such an important piece of like queer media.
And you could tell too that this was a story that somebody desperately wanted to tell. There's so much thought, there's so much research that goes into this, and there's so much heart. Like, whoever, I mean, because they say it's a story that's crafted by Jeff Lemire and Tate Bromble, but the script is done by Tate Bromble. So I don't know where Tate falls, but Tate is putting literally his heart and soul into this book, into these characters and into these conversations. And I don't know, it's a great book. It's all I got. If there's one book that I want you to pick up out of 2020, like this is the book, especially if you're a queer voice, if you're a marginalized voice, this book will speak to you in volumes that I know me and Jen sit here and we preach about how much we love it and how important it is. But until you actually read it, you're not going to understand why we're sitting here the way that we are, why I'm literally like 2 seconds away from crying on stream. But just please read this book, whether it's in trade or whether it's in single issues.
Please read it.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh,
100%. So I know, you know, not necessarily that books like this shouldn't be read all year round. Same thing with like books for Black History Month, but books like this, I definitely, you know, if we do something for like Queer History Month, LGBTQ History Month, this is going to be one of the most modern reads. So if you couldn't figure it out already, we're big fans.
Big fans.
Big fans. Huge. What is another book that was really good but did not make you cry?
Did this make me cry? I can't remember. I don't think it made me cry. Okay. We Live number 5. This is the end of the first arc. And holy shit, this book, every time I'm like, we're just in for a fun little post-apocalyptic read, post-apocalyptic fun.
You know, it's the end of the world. It's fun.
Fucking Inaki brothers do some fucking crazy ass shit that drag me back in, and I'm like, I am so goddamn invested. It's not even funny. I really want to talk about the ending, but I don't know if I should because it is such a fucking spoiler. But when I say that those last like 3 pages of this book blew my fucking mind and made me go, holy shit. Because the way that this book ends, without jumping a spoiler, because I haven't been given permission yet, it sets
maybe hold off on the spoilers a little bit, because I feel like this is an underrated book. I feel like this is an underrated book, and not a lot of people have been reading it.
Well, if you want a reason to pick this up, so the last couple pages of this book do something out of fucking left field that I did not expect. But then when it happened, I was like, holy shit, I absolutely love this. So this finishes off the first arc, and it does set up for a second arc, and it's already been confirmed that we're getting, I guess, season 2 or wave 2, as Aftershock puts it. But this has almost set itself up for an entire fucking universe. And when I say that, I think like Black Hammer, where we got the main Black Hammer run, but then we got all of these tie-ins to go with it. That's how massive this world started. And then just imagine it tripled by the end of it. That's all I can really say without spoiling it, because it is a huge fucking bomb that has been dropped. If you have not been reading this book, you are missing out. The artwork is gorgeous. The characters are gorgeous. The twists and turns of this book, phenomenal.
And honestly, from picking up the first issue of this series, We Live #1, when I first read it, you kind of get introduced to this world because there is a, like, in my opinion, like a Fallout, the video game style guide to like what's going on in the world. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of cute. It's kind of adorable. And then with each issue, each different month, like it completely defied my expectations, like each month reading it. And there wasn't really an issue that I can recall that I was like, okay, this is the week where it wasn't that good, because a lot of or this was the month that like the issue wasn't that great. You know, issue 1 is really good, and then issue 2 and issue 3, like this one was continually a great series. And like the characters, like I don't know, it's very like whimsical but very dark, and
very dark.
There's even, I only did it in issue 1, but there's little like QR codes in the book that you can scan, and it'll bring you to, like, I think the first one was like a YouTube where it was like music and stuff like that. So I thought it was really interesting. I haven't gone back to them, but just that like multimedia, I thought was really, really cool.
They make music for them. It's cool, but like I said, I can't wait to go back and reread it, because I'm definitely going to be picking up the trade for this one as well. And it's just, oh man, I need to reread it, because this book completely defied any expectation I sort of had for it. I think it's definitely one of the best things Aftershock has ever published. And that's saying something, considering they published another really, really big post-apocalyptic book with Animosity. But this is insane. And it ended, and now it's going to come back, and like, it'll come back, I think in May or June, they said it'll come back, but that's way too long. Like 7 Secrets is on hiatus. We Live is on hiatus. All of my favorite books are now on hiatus, and I'm very, very depressed about that. But I guess that's a good thing, because I keep adding things to my pull list left and right.
Yeah, for sure. So like maybe, because I know these last 2 weeks were like huge weeks for comics. So, man, not necessarily, because I enjoy reading like 20 to 30 books in 1 week. I don't enjoy when I get them on Friday and don't feel like I can read them all like clearly.
Well, maybe if you stop buying so much.
I can't stop, won't stop.
Can't do it. Can't stop, won't stop.
One of the other books, since we're speaking about Aftershock, did you end up picking up Shadow Doctor?
I did not, because it looked like a boring book that did not interest me. I'm sorry.
That is all right, because I almost thought the same thing. And even though in several of the other Aftershock books there was a 3 or 4 page preview of it, I had read the preview a couple times. However, this one actually was really, really good. The story is basically based around the main character, and I apologize for not recalling their name, but basically he is a black doctor in the 30s, like 20s and 30s prohibition era. He cannot get work anywhere because he's a person of color, so no one is going to hire him. And there's even a moment where he's going through like job interviews at each of these different hospitals, and they're like, oh, like you are like a doctor, like sorry, we're not going to hire you. It's not personal. And you just see him get denied for like these positions over and over and over again. Like, hey, it's not personal. Hey, it's not personal. And the conversation that he has, he's like, yeah, it's not personal. It's only the color of my skin. And so basically he ends up he was at one point a moonshine runner, I guess, and so then he ends up getting in with the mafia. So this was pretty good, and there is a moment where he's having a conversation with his grandson on his deathbed, kind of reliving these stories. And the author Peter Calloway, these are actually based off of real stories from his grandfather.
Oh, wow.
So there's like a whole portion in the back kind of dedicated to the history of these stories that for me 100% added to that. So I really do think that in a similar but not same type of way, I think that if you enjoyed Philadelphia and if you enjoyed Bitter Root, things like that, I do think that you would enjoy Shadow Doctor.
I'll definitely have to be on the lookout for it when it comes to trade, because it does seem really interesting, especially when you say that they were based off of his grandfather's life. I think that's really cool.
So you get like pictures and stuff like that. So like pictures from history, because I guess all pictures are from history if you really think about it.
I think so.
Sorry, I just had like a mini existential crisis there. Like, what is time? I only have one other book that I read this week. So do you have anything else that you read?
I don't have anything that I read for this week. The only thing I have left are some back issues I picked up and some library hauls that we'll wrap up with at the end.
I did pick up a couple of back issues as well, but the only other thing that I read was issue 4 of Terminal Punks. Still is just a really, really great series. I really want people to pick this up, so I don't want to get like too far into what happens each issue. But basically, punk rock band, Battle of the Bands, flies to New York. Their trip gets delayed, thrown off the rails because there is a vape company that did experiments on animals, and those animals end up mutated, and they're in the airport terminal. So you see them like just kind of going crazy through the airport. And each one of the covers is a band
homage cover.
So they did, I think is the next one or the previous one was Tragic Kingdom. They had one for X-Ray Specs. So it's just been a really, really fun, a fun ride.
Fun fact for you that I learned, and I've been meaning to text you about it. So Matthew Ehrman, who writes Terminal Punks, is who is writing Witchblood for Volt Comics.
Oh,
so I think you're really, really going to enjoy Witchblood, because, I mean, I enjoyed the review copy I got, but then when I figured out that it was the same person, I was like, ooh, Jen's really, really going to love this book.
I like immediately know, like Mad Cave Studios, I know we talk about it, like they usually only have 1 or 2 books that come out each week, and usually like 1 or 2 series a month coming out. But all of the ones that I've read, at least the ones that I picked up issue 1, have been great reads. And speaking of which, I think either next week or next month, we've got Stargazer trade coming out, or maybe the last issue of Stargazer. We've also got the Dryfoot trade coming out, and I think there was maybe 1 more. So I'm really glad that trades of these stories are coming out, because I think that's going to get people pumped for Mad Cave Studios, and it's really going to
be more inclined to pick them up.
Exactly, because I feel like if you go to an indie publisher and you're like, oh, I'm gonna, buy Image because I know it's consistent quality. Like I feel like, and I'll keep saying it, Aftershock, Mad Cave, and Vault Comics have been like way more consistent in my opinion than Image has been, and that kind of hurts my heart to say that a little bit.
But it's the truth. You gotta speak the truth.
Pantomime, I only got issue 1 because I think I missed like issue 2 and 3, so I never kept up with it, but I'll be buying the trade.
100%.
And so Banshee's excited for Witchblood too.
And it's so good. You have every right to be excited for it. I have like 3 different variants that are pre-ordered because I'm insane. But the character designs in that book are great. The character interactions in that book are great. And like y'all are in for a treat. Let me tell y'all, it's Volt is coming stacked for 2021 between Hollowheart, Witchblood, and whatever else they got on the table. They are coming pure and stacked.
Mm-hmm.
But I think is that everything for this week? All the new comics that came out this week?
I mean, there was a couple more, not all of them that I read. Let me go ahead and separate some of these because I picked up some back issue stuff too.
Somebody said, unfortunately, the image we are getting now is the image of 6 years ago, and you're not wrong on that fact, friend.
Yeah.
Or isn't the image of 6 years ago. You're right. Either way, you're right. We agree, 100%. Like I missed that golden age of Image where it felt like you had the trifecta of like saga, sex criminals, and at the time rat queens. It was like the golden trifecta of like amazing books that made me happy, and now it's like we're not getting anything.
See, for me, like even like there wasn't a trifecta. It was just everything because it was East of West. It was Descender. It was Paper Girls. It was Rat Queens first volume, and then we won't talk about the rest. But then what else did we get? Like you already mentioned Saga, which
we had Wicked and Divine, which Divine. I feel kind of on. Let me see what else we got here. Yeah, like honestly, like it was those books, and then there were some other really, really great books, and then I don't know. I don't know what happened. I wish Image would come back.
I feel like this last year, Image hasn't been as consistent because a lot of those series that we just mentioned either wrapped up or went on hiatus or what have you. So
I feel like they're too busy trying to push what could and would be the next big thing, rather than allowing it to take its toll, like to take that path naturally. Because like if you think about it, Die was not pushed in the way that books like Department of Truth or Deep Beyond or Commanders in Crisis are.
Or Mercy.
But then they kind of, it became this big hot selling hit and everybody loved Die. And that's because it did so naturally. So I don't know. That's just my take on Image Comics. Do you have anything else new this week before we hop into fun?
Not new, just back issue stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So just like kind of like random back issues. I did pick up this Shuri number 3 because I really like the cover. I'm gonna try to separate these a little bit. I did end up picking a whole bunch of number 1 issues up. So I got this True Believers Darth Vader. So that was a book, and then I also picked up a number 1 issue of Ice Cream Man. I'll probably be giving this away during our graphic novel book club over at Comic Shop News. I also just wanted to make Alan Moore's Ghost cry, even though he's still alive, but I did pick up a DC Essentials Watchman number 1. I picked up 2 of these, but I got Spider-Woman number 1, True Believers.
Okay.
And then I got this one, Carnage Mind Bomb number 1. There was another book that came out this week, but I didn't get a chance to read it yet, and that's Abbott 1973.
Okay.
Issue number 2.
That cover is gorgeous. I love that cover.
I did also get that one too. So
yeah, they're super nice.
And then I got a couple other back issues. So
So for back issues for me, because I feel like every time I go into my local shop, I'm always looking through the back issues because it feels like there's either a new thing I'm obsessed with or a new thing I'm on the hunt for. And this week it was those Extreme X-Men issues because I want to read the Gay Wolverine. And listen, I peaked at that moment. I will never have a greater moment.
Leveled up.
Just like dying and screaming at the same time. And I just really, really want to read them. That's all I want in my life. But I didn't find those, but I did find some really, really cool stuff. So I found this issue of X-Force number 20. I really just like the fact that it's a bunch of Laura Kinney's beating the shit out of Dakin and, or no, that's not Dakin. I don't know who that is, but it's Wolverine. We got Domino, and I just really, really like these covers. And I really like this X-Force run. So I never got to finish it, so I think I'm going to do so. I picked up this really, really fun cover, which I think you'll appreciate, and I'm actually just a little obsessed with it. So it's She-Hulk and a bunch of ladies. It says, "All right, girls, that finishes off this male chauvinist pig. From now on, it's the She-Hulk and her lady liberators." And I'm like, I am here for this 100% of the way. And I thought this was really interesting because this is an Arthur Adams cover. But then also apparently Arthur Adams does the interiors. And I personally have never read a book where he's done the interiors. I've only ever read things where he's done the cover. So I'm really excited. It feels like there's a lot of different leading ladies in here. So just look at how gorgeous they all are. Like, listen, I would like to join She-Hulk and her lady liberators if she would be so kind to let me be a part of that. And then the last thing I picked up, so I'm WandaVision trash. I am Scarlet Witch trash. I really just want to read fucking House of M. My library doesn't have it. The trays are out of print. I thought I could find them at my local shop in the back issue bins, and they had like really weird issues. So it was like 2 and 6 and 8 and 7. But I did pick up this issue 7 because it is a tragic cover featuring Scarlet Witch.
That's a beautiful cover.
And I think it's really cute and really tragic. However, there's good news. So apparently Marvel has rushed House of M back to printing because of all the hype around WandaVision. So I'm like, I'm going to be able to read it. And yes, Jay, High Republic, Jen really likes it. I'm on the fence about it, but that's just because I don't like the Jedi. I don't like the Jedi.
And I have really low expectations. I have really low expectations for Star Wars, to be very completely honest, and I don't know too much about the lore or anything like that, so I could just go in and be entertained.
I feel like for 99% of Star Wars fans, they'll really like High Republic, but again, I don't like the Jedi, and that's what the High Republic is, so I don't care. Monkey Man and O'Brien. What the hell is this Monkey Man? I am intrigued.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and when I go to, I think Scott, you said that you go to Excalibur as well. So one of the next times I go to Excalibur, I'll see if it's there.
Ooh. So that's all I picked up for back issues. I did pick up this really, really fun book for $13 at a local shop. It is called The Lovable Oaf. This is a book that I don't know if you watch or know of Nerdburger Kaz, but I absolutely, I love her. She's the whole reason I started YouTubing because I've watched her for years and she's just the nicest person in the whole world. And for years, she's been telling me to read this book. And I was like, well, I don't want to pay $35 for it. So I found it for $13. And this just has a lot of really nice queer beef that I am really, really into.
Queer beef.
It's queer beef. So it's Meat Oaf, cat lover, Morrissey fan, which I'm pretty sure that this book was made before all that happened. Unpenitent romantic. And then it's got Meet Ethel, a moody and misanthropic? I can't read that word.
Misanthropic?
That word. Lead singer of the disco grindcore band Ejaculoid.
Ooh.
I think this is a book that you would really, really like, so I think you need to put it on your list.
I'm literally on... I'm on.
Are you on Pals?
On Pals, yeah.
She's on Pals.
It's not there, but I'll check it at my local shop.
She's on Pals. She's looking for it. But like, I really like the way that this book is drawn. I like how it is very queer, very buff man queer.
Beef. Himbo? Is it himbo? Are those some himbos that I'm seeing? Some himbo beef?
Bunch of himbos? I don't know. But Kaz has literally been like, also Alan Moore's in this book apparently.
Ooh.
Is that Alan Moore?
That is, I recognize that eyebrow beard combination anywhere from a mile away.
That's Alan Moore. But yeah, she's been telling me to read this book for literally years, so I'm really excited to read this. And I literally like found it, took a picture of it, and texted her, and I was like, "Look what I'm finally going to get to read!" So, can't wait to read Lovable Oaf. I think it's going to be a really fun time.
It's really, really cute.
So excited for it. And then from the library, I got in this week the wise beasts of the Wizarding Wisdom from Nagabe. So if you know me, you know Girl from the Other Side and Love on the Other Side is like my favorite like manga. I absolutely love Nagabe style. However, what I did not realize, So this is an anthology set stories, I guess, but it is a boys' love, which is code for yaoi, without the yaoi, I guess. And I did not expect that. So we'll see how that goes, because I always feel uncomfortable reading yaoi as a queer woman. Like, I'm okay with reading queer romances, but then I never understood that fascination with straight or queer women. Fetishizing queer men. I don't know.
As someone who, like, I feel like part of my sexual awakening as a high school kid, I remember one of my friends in high school and this maybe like ages me a little bit, but I remember trying to sneak in episodes of Queer as Folk as it was coming out. So I don't know if you've ever experienced that show, but
no,
man,
but I've heard of it.
I know going back, it would be incredibly, extremely cringy. But man, seeing like, I don't know, there's a lot of like toxic culture with it, but I think being able to experience that like was pretty interesting. So.
So I picked up that, and then the other one I picked up, which is another manga, because of course I'm on a manga binger. And it is the completed collection of I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, which it's basically about a kid who finds the high school diary of a girl, and he finds out that she is dying from a rare pancreatic disease. And so he's stuck with this secret that he doesn't want to know about, and he wants nothing to do with her, but then she starts to get closer to him. And I just feel like this is going to be a really tragic story. And I know that there's an animated adaptation, I believe, on like Netflix or something like that. So I've had this on hold forever, and it finally came in.
That reminds me of, who's that author? Is it John Green?
Yes.
Who, like, I feel like it's like dying of cancer porn,
like
where it's
stars.
like, yeah. So I feel like that's like the manga version of it.
Yeah, so I'm excited to read those. I'm still trying to get through my massive stack because it's staring at me, and like that Lone Wolf and Cub omnibus in particular, which is like this thick. I'm like, I'll read it eventually. And like, I feel like I'm punishing myself right now, where I'm not allowing myself to read any of the trades I either have or have bought until I get through this massive library stack. But I want to read more stuff.
That's what I keep telling myself. I mean, granted, I don't have any library books. I just have books that end up on my to be read pile. And I was thinking about trying to do, because last year in, what was it, July or August, I read 100 books in 1 month.
Oh my God, do it again.
I'm thinking about doing it again. So I might try. I will probably fail, but I've got a huge stack. So I was like, okay, do I want to do this in April? Do I want to do it in March? So I might just kind of go ahead. I might have, hopefully not. Because I feel like, I mean, granted, like my foot's doing much, much better now. But I don't know if I can have another health crisis at this point in my life. Like, no more. I've had way too many my entire life. I'm at maximum capacity for health crises.
But that's everything I got. Did you spend any dumb bitch money and pick up a bunch of stuff?
Kind of. So I did pick up just a couple back issues. I did pick up this X-23 just because, I mean, why not? It was only a couple bucks. So I did pick that up.
It's one of my favorites.
I did also pick up these two New Mutants, so number 34 and 52, just because they have magic on them, and she's just a baddie, and I really absolutely adore magic. You're getting all my like Christmas lights reflected in there. And then I did end up picking up these other New Mutants, and granted they're like second printing, like facsimile editions, whatever. But I did end up picking up this New Mutants number 87, which is the first appearance of Cable. It's not a very good copy, but it was $10, so why not? And then I did pick up this one, New Mutants 98, for $6. It's the facsimile edition, not in great cover, but it's the first one of Deadpool. So
still pretty exciting.
Jay is trying to reel me back in and being like, maybe 50.
Good job,
Maybe.
Jay.
Yeah. We'll see. I'll let me go ahead and shoot for the moon and land among the stars, even though that's not how space works. It's you got to shoot for the stars and you land on the moon. Science.
Fact. Science.
So that pretty much wraps it up for me this week.
Yeah, it was a big week. It was a huge week. Let's talk about next week, because I think next week is kind of big. I know that you've always got a crazy list, so I'll kind of start us off. So we got crossover number 4, which I'm not excited about, because after crossover number 3, which I was excited for, but the way Donny Cates hyped it up, it was not as exciting as he made it out to be.
So here's my thing. I'm very excited about crossover number 4. And the reason why is because I'm still holding on to my theory that crossover, because it's in the shared Marvel universe, and that Solid Blood 17 that came out, which was this random ass issue, is somehow a crossover. And we get to see this crazy character in it called the Necromonger, which is basically like Great Value Spawn.
Jen's got her damn dashboard, her Charlie Day pinboard over here.
Like,
man.
There is no Pepe Silver. And so here's the thing is that this week, Todd McFarlane basically came out and said, well, we're going to go ahead and do this shared Spawn universe. And Donny Cates is one of the people who's doing a story.
Wait, so you're on to something. Wait a second.
I've been on to something since issue 1 of crossover. Well, maybe issue 2 of crossover, because I knew something exciting was going to come out once they talked about Solid Blood. I'm like, I know in my heart of hearts, Solid Blood is not what they're saying. So I'm excited for crossover 4, because I haven't been proved wrong. I just haven't been proved right yet.
Makes sense. Solid pick. Solid Blood, solid pick. Okay, so crossover number 4, I'm convinced again now. I'm excited for it. We got Future State Aquaman number 2, which okay, we're wrapping up the last week of Future State. It's about damn time. I'm done from Future State. Let's move on. King in Black, Return of the Valkyries number 3. Did not care about last issue. I think I'm gonna have to read them all together, but I also acknowledge and accept the fact that this is setting up for the Valkyrie series that we will be getting.
But look at this Tessa Thompson cover, and it's the Black History Month.
Gorgeous cover.
I need a moment with my queen.
It's a very good cover. I don't think my shop got me that cover, and now I'm sad, but it's a very good cover. Nuclear Family number 1 from Aftershock Comics, which I am
Stephanie Phillips.
I think so. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yep, Stephanie Phillips. You're right. I think it's going to be very, very fun. It's going to be great. Something's Killing the Children number 15, which, let's be honest, I have not read a Something is Killing the Children issue since like 7. Don't know why it's still on my pool list. I think it's because I'm like, oh, if I just keep getting the issues and then I bulk sell them, I'll get my money back. I don't know. I'm stupid. I should just drop it from my pool because I don't read it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think it's the end of the this is going to be the end of the arc, which is going to be the end of the 3rd volume. Yeah, and I think
it's time to drop it.
Yeah. I've been consistently liking it. So I'm going to keep reading it.
I feel like it's not that I don't like it. It's just I've fallen off the wagon. And when I fall off the wagon with a series, especially like this, also Howdy. When I fall off this wagon with a series like this, where I'm so far off the wagon, I'm like trailing behind it and like holding on for dear life, I might as well just drop it and just continue to trade read it. It's not that I don't dig Something is Killing the Children. I like Something is Killing the Children. I'm just off the wagon and I'm trade reading it now, okay? Yeah. Now you're going to guilt trip me. I'm going to have to go and find all of the random ass issues I have shelved somewhere and read them all. I see how it is. So Something's Killing the Children number 15. Stray Dogs number 1, which I am so ridiculously excited about. I'm worried though. I feel like it's going to disappoint me. I'm scared and I'm nervous because I did recently learn, and this scares me a little bit. I did recently learn that Tony Flex, who is the writer, is a massive writer for My Little Pony.
Anthony Fleeks?
Yeah, My Little Pony. And I saw some of his stuff got a little weird. So I'm like, please don't Please don't do weird stuff with animals. Like, let me just enjoy a fun crime thriller with animals.
Hold up. Did they do
magic? But I have 2 covers pre-ordered, so I'm hoping Image Comics doesn't betray me again, because like we were saying earlier, Image Comics has been very, very, I would say hit or miss, but it's been very miss.
Mm-hmm.
But next to Hollow Heart, I think Stray Dogs is the comic that I am like most excited for 2021.
Sorry, because I no secret here. I am not going to be ashamed. But Transformers My Little Pony was one of my favorite reads of last year. No shame. There's no kink shaming here. But it's a different author. Ian Flynn is the author of Transformers My Little Pony. So
you got excited for nothing.
I did, because I'm like, wait, what? But I still I think that I'll enjoy, but lately I've been going into Image titles. I've been trying to go in with like limited expectations. So
I just feel like a Don Bluth styled Silence of the Lambs could be really, really fun. I mean, that pitch alone sells it for me. So fingers crossed it's going to be just as good, if not better, than what I'm hoping for it to be. And then the only other thing I have is a random issue of X-Men number 18 that I'm purely buying because it is a Peach Momoko variant with X-23.
Oh,
I'm not reading Donna X. I don't do that. Get that out of my face.
It breaks my heart a little bit, but I definitely understand it, because the universe going on in X-Men right now, like, it's a lot, and especially for like, I don't want to say like you're a casual reader, because you're not a casual reader. You're just a casual X-Men
reader, 100%. And my baby goldfish brain is not smart enough to handle Jonathan Hickman, especially when he throws up a wall of text and I refuse to read it. And then I'm like, fuck, I had to read that wall of text because now I don't know what's happening. Kaz agrees with me. We don't like it. Marauders is good, but that's all I care about.
Are you talking about Demon Days? I did see
that. It's going to be so good.
I am excited for Demon Days, and I know that in one of the books that I read this week, there was like the preview. I think it was King in Black that I read that had the preview. I didn't read the preview though, because I want to go in like blind and fresh into it.
Well, I found out because people were asking her which Psylocke it is, whether it's Betsy or I can't think of the other name.
Yeah.
And she said it's somebody completely different, and it's just like an alternate universe that she has created. So I like the idea of it's as somebody who's a casual X-Men reader. It feels like it's just going to be a fun fantasy feudal Japan story with some razzle dazzle X-Men thrown in, and maybe it'll be like an Elseworld story, for lack of a better word, or like an Old Man Logan type story where we see familiar characters in these new and interesting roles and maybe get some spin-offs. So I'm actually really, really excited for that book.
You know, now that you mentioned that it's like you said feudal Japan, or just not feudal, but like Japanese or like Asian inspired.
Like a fantasy, fantasy Asian inspired.
So now that like I hear that, it made me think of Yoshitaka Amano's Elektra and Wolverine book. And now that I think about that, I feel like Peach Momoko gives me Yoshitaka Amano vibes.
Wait, there's an Elektra and Wolverine book?
Yeah. It's old, but I have it on my shelf and I can't reach it, and I'm not going to get up.
Okay, I can Google.
But yeah, it's pretty old, like maybe 20 or not 20, maybe like 15 years old, maybe.
Ooh, I am interested. Okay. It's a Greg Rucka book?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I am invested and interested, and I will be buying this immediately. Thank you. Also, Chris, if you are still in the comments, because you are the Elektra stan that I know, please tell me if this is a good book and if I should read it, because I trust your judgment 100%, but I'm going to read it anyway.
It's been a hot minute since I've read it, so it's not like fresh. I feel like if I went back to it, it's not going to be like the book that I remember. But
the art's pretty.
Yeah, that is true. Was that all your books for the week?
That is all my books for the week.
Okay.
Luckily, it's semi-small, unlike this week, which Oh my God, when they rung me up, I was like, oh no.
I made 2 visits to shops. So I made a visit on Wednesday, picked up some things, went to 2 different shops, and then on Friday I went to 3 different shops and picked some stuff up. So I'm really hoping that my books are there on Wednesday so I don't spend even more money.
Double bitch money.
Yeah, double dumb bitch money. So my list for this upcoming week, crossover 4, Department of Truth 6. And
6 already for that?
that's what it's showing. And then the trade of volume 1's coming out, so I'm probably going to pick that up as well. Ice Cream Man 23. I do love Monstrous a lot, but I feel like I've been waiting for the trades on those. Let's see here.
Department of Truth Volume 1, is that the trade this week?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I have that pre-ordered as well.
There is Rain Like Hammers number 2 is coming out, and I enjoyed issue number 1. So I know that it wasn't for everyone. Stray Dogs, definitely 2 Moons. I'm going to be getting that one. Looks really good. For Dark Horse, Crimson Flower comes out this upcoming week. I'm probably going to like dip my toe in, and this will be the issue that I decide if I pick up any more. Let's see here. Okay. Marvel has, I think I wanted to pick up Captain Marvel, but I think I was just going to pick up, Captain Marvel Snapshots came out. I really enjoyed, one of the snapshots that came out, so I will be reading that. Let's see here. King in Black, Return of the Valkyries. I have been enjoying, and I'm definitely going to pick up that like Tessa Thompson variant. Marvel Voices Legacy number 1, which this cover right here does feature my girl Jubilee. You can't really see it there, but it features Jubilee, so of course I'm going to get that. Let's see here. Dr. Aphra. Oh, that's a second printing. Not going to be picking that up. New Mutants. Let's see here. X-Men. That Momoko cover looks beautiful. Let's see here. Boom Studios. Something is Killing the Children, and then it looks like a whole bunch of reprintings for We Only Find Them When We're Dead. So if you didn't pick up that, now this is on to just like the random stuff. So By the Horns by Scout Comics looks really good. Dead End Kids by Frank Gogol, the Suburban.
My first issue still hasn't come in yet from the shop, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? They're like, it's still on order, and I'm like, well, issue 2's coming out, so I guess I'm not pulling that. So
Dryfoot trade paperback comes out this week. I know you're excited about this one, 8th Immortal, issue number 2. Sorry.
You needed getting a second issue?
Yeah, I had to do it. Let's see what else here. I Breathed a Body was fantastic. Issue number 2 is coming out. Let's see here. Nuclear Family by Aftershock, Stephanie Phillips. That one's coming out. We've also got Paranormal Hitman. I got a chance to read this one, and I interviewed the author with the Hero and the Kid group. So that was a really fun interview, and I will be picking that one up, even though I already read it, because it was really fun. It was good. I feel like Vagrant Queen Volume 2 is coming out. I loved Vagrant Queen Volume 1. I think that if you like Dr. Aphra and like Star Trek Discovery, I really think that you'll like Vagrant Queen. And I think that's pretty much it. So kind of a stacked week, but hopefully as long as I don't buy as many like variant covers and stuff, it should be good.
Because you always spend way too much.
I do.
You always read way too much. I don't know how you do it.
I do. And that's the thing that I'm worried about, is that if I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ham on reading 100 books in 1 month or 90 books this time in 1 month, am I going to be able to read all my single issues?
Yeah,
should that count towards, like, should every like 5 single issues count towards 1 trade?
I never thought about it that way.
Because that's basically what it would be sometimes for. So We'll see.
Things to think about.
Anything you got going on your channel? You just dropped a video this last week.
I just dropped a new video finally, because I'm finally like semi-done redecorating, but done enough that I was able to edit and publish. So I did just publish a video where I talked about my favorite comics from DC, because with Future State, I was feeling very nostalgic and very reminiscent of all of the series I loved from DC Comics. So if you want to check out some of my favorite books, and especially me ranting about how much I absolutely fucking love Green Arrow, you should go watch that video, because it was a lot of fun to do, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm probably going to do one for Marvel at some point. I'm currently editing a new video, and I only stopped because we had to do our lovely show tonight. But I'm currently editing a new video, just kind of showing off my manga collection, because currently it is small enough that I was able to put it all on my table, because there's only about 30 or so books. So I figured, why not kind of show off my manga collection? I just wanted an excuse to talk about manga anyway. And by the end of the year, we'll see how much it's doubled, because I'm pretty sure with the rate I'm going right now and some of the books that I'm falling in love with, it's going to happen 100%.
Very nice. I always look forward to your edited videos. Like I feel like I am not good at them, and like your editing style is like incredible, absolutely incredible. It looks like...
Listen, I want to read some Namor, because Namor is just my type of dude. I love his weird relationship with Sue Storm, and I only wish that I could be Sue Storm, because listen, I'm not saying anything bad about Sue, but she seemed like a basic bitch. And the fact that somebody like Namor, who is like this godly being, is in love with somebody so ordinary as Sue Storm, it's like, that could be me. So you should give me recommendations on books that I should be reading for Namor, because I definitely will. And also, I meant to plug this when you asked me what I'm doing. Sue, call your boy. Sue is the strongest in every reality. Okay, we're gonna fight after this. We'll meet on Twitter, because have you ever met Scarlet Witch?
That's basically like the internet version of like Catch Me Outside.
Catch me outside. Meet me on Twitter. You know where to find me, at that comic girl. But when you asked me the things I was working on, one of the things that I am working on is I want to do another YouTube Q&A. So I threw something up on my Instagram story the other night, but if you're not on there, if you're on here, DM me on Twitter, DM me on Instagram, send me your fun, weird, wacky questions, or just things that you want to know, so that way I can have a fun time answering them. And yeah, all that fun stuff. I'm Twitter, on Instagram, whatever it is you want to meet me up with, you can do it. She's only beaten Hulk in every reality. Wait, really? Sue Storm? Get the fuck out of here. Maybe I don't like Sue Storm, because when I think of Sue Storm, I think of Jessica Alba, and I'm not the biggest fan of Jessica Alba, and I feel like she kind of ruined that character for me. So that's just my thoughts. But yeah, hit me up on Twitter. We'll fight outside, and we'll talk about Sue Storm. Speaking of tweets and Twitters, I saw a very interesting tweet before the show. Somebody was like, if they had time to calculate and prepare, who would win in a fight between Batman and Scarlet Witch? And obviously my first thought is Scarlet Witch is decimate. But then somebody made a really interesting tweet that I agreed with. It said, no, Batman, the real Batman, would comfort Scarlet Witch and would help her through her psychological issues, like he did with Ace in the Justice League Unlimited show. And I'm like, shit, you're right. I was about to come in here swinging for Scarlet Witch. But you're right, 100%.
I would say, like, is it just like, who is the, like, why are they fighting? Like, I want to get deep philosophical. Like, why are Batman and Scarlet Witch fighting? Like, did Batman kill Vision? Because then I don't think he could comfort her. But I think that if, so what are the parameters? But because I think you're right. Like, if maybe Batman did have some time to prepare, but I still would say Scarlet Witch all the way.
100%. Like I said, I was ready to come in swinging, and then somebody hit me with the philosophical shit. And I was like, damn, you're right. And that was not the answer I expected, but I'm here for it 100%.
I'm gonna go think about this like for the rest of the evening.
Rest of the evening.
I'm just kidding. It's
fighting?
why would Batman and Scarlet Witch?
She wouldn't give him the time of day, let's be honest.
Now I'm just writing volume 4 of Batman Barely Legal. Batman Year 18, Barely Legal, Batman 2, Electric Boogaloo, Fake Pearls, Batman Year 69, it's just all Lemon Party, and Batman and Scarlet Witch. Under the Red Hood. I don't know.
Under the Red Hood, that's a good one. I like that. 10 points. That's a good one. I like that one a lot.
Thank you. Please go like and subscribe. I've got a whole bunch of links, not only to Mars' channel, but I've got a whole bunch of links to like other really fun, cool people down below, including our friend Victoria, our friend Dee from FTO Nerd Talks, Comic Chop News. I know I kind of talked about it earlier, but we're reading Ice Cream Man, so we're going to be discussing this Wednesday evening. I'm also planning, I keep putting it off, but there's another cool Wednesday show that I think that I'm going to start doing. So Details, TBA. And then I'm also doing Fridays. I don't know if Friday I'm going to do Comic Chop News, because normally if we have a week where we do a graphic novel book club, we don't do a Friday show, so we'll see. But then Hero and the Kid, where I talk with a whole bunch of other comic book YouTubers, like it's a whole thing. So there's a lot going on.
Also, that should be a show. That just gave me an idea. We should do a show where people pitch us comic book characters that are fighting, and we should discuss who would be the winner.
Who would win? I feel like that would get toxic like so fast. Like you and I would not be friends. I'm just kidding. We'll still be friends. Because if you cannot like Rom v Swamp Thing right now, at least you didn't like issue 1, and we can still be friends, then we're here. We're here for love.
But I didn't say Swamp Thing wouldn't win. There's a difference. There's a difference.
We'll have to think about this. So, go ahead and put in the comments on like the replay, maybe not the live chat because those will go away, or meet us on Twitter, meet us on Instagram, come fight with us. Maybe we can get this to be a thing. If you give us like good combinations, like
we'll do
maybe get some like brackets and shit like that, like go real nerdy with it. So we'll do like March Madness. Maybe we can do this for March. We can do like a March Madness on Super. Let's just do it. Let's just go ahead and plan it. Okay, cool. So we're gonna do March Madness.
That's what we're doing. Hell yeah.
Cool. So thank you everyone. You heard it here first. March Madness. Well, thank you everyone for being here. We've been here for almost 2.5 hours, and I'm so glad we got to do a night show. Because normally it's morning, and I'm like, I gotta get to work. But thank you all for being here. Mars, you're amazing, and I love you so much.
You're amazing.
So I hope everyone has a wonderful night, and see you next Sunday.
Bye.